Marolava Suifumaumalangiuma. My government name is Matthew Salapu. Sometimes the name Fayumu is at the beginning of it, what's hidden in the middle. That's my Tula Fale Matai title from my father's village of Tanga in Savai'i in Samoa that I now wear proudly in the industry. I'm known as Anonymous, spelled with a Z. My practice is started off in music production. Kind of just organically evolved from there to kind of integrate into other art forms that require sound and music, and these days I'm really interested in, I guess, integrated audio and visual, kind of starting the whole process of digital production, weaving audio strands and composition and production with the video at the same time, as opposed to traditionally what usually happens, which is where the video is made in response to the audio. So it's like you make a music video after the track's done, or you shoot a film and then you make a soundtrack to it. But it's about aligning those two right from the outset so that the two equal strands right from the outset. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm from a cassette tape generation where we used to kind of dub things onto cassette tapes, and that's really where a lot of the music started for me, which is like kind of sampling tapes onto each other, and then obviously computers came along and you could sample different things. And so I was sampling the radio imaging for Pacific Media Network at the time, or the jingles that play for New FM 531. So I wanted to get to toe samples, and so I went along to a mate who was getting his to toe, but I was challenged by the tufunga at the time. So like I was recording the samples, and then he was like, what's this for? And I said, oh, this is for radio. Ironically, they were listening to 531 PI at the time, and I was like, that radio station, that'll be your jingles. I'll sample it, make a beat. And then he was like, can you lift up your lava lava? I was like, oh, how come? And he goes, do you carry this? And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, okay, cool. He goes, I know you guys in the bougie art community, I get it. For these sounds, to you it's just a sound, but to us it's a feeling. You know, if you really want to go deep with your work, you might want to consider getting one. And it made sense to me, because as musicians, as creatives, it's all about the feel. Like we play that combination of notes because it makes you feel something. So when a tufunga says you only hear the sound but you don't feel the sound, then I was like, I knew then. I went home that evening and I just walked into my lounge and I told my wife, I'm getting the tatau. So, you know, and that's the truth. Like, I know a lot of people get it because their grandma wanted them to, or to make their parents proud and all of that. But I just got it purely for intrinsic artistic reasons, that I wanted to understand what the tapping sounds like, what it feels like. You know, what is this? What is the resonance of this practice? And it's subsequently through getting the tatau, like I have now gone 360 and just completely got a huge love for the culture and all the things that come with it, all the tautua and all the service, and it's a real deep integral part of all my works over the past, ever since I've got it. So I've kind of gone through the tatau journey backwards to a certain degree. It's a practice and that's got so many overlaps with life and creative production in general, and so it's a topic that I frequently come back to explore in the different works that I involve myself with. Tatau, the act of submission, is something that's really shaped my last few years, because the first thing you're instructed when you lie down on the mat is the tufunga. The tattooist tells you that okay, don't strain, don't fight the pain, otherwise the ink won't hold, it will just keep coming out. But you actually ironically have to relax your muscles. So the more it hurts, the more you go, I accept the hurt, like let me relax into this. And that's a beautiful framework for life, because intrinsically as humans we tend to run away from painful things, painful conversations. And so for myself, there's been a lot of things about myself that I have been running away from, that I don't want to lean into for a long time, ever since childhood trauma and all those types of things. But as an adult now, especially over the last few years working on these types of things, I'm like, okay, cool, I want the audience to feel that too. And so the flow of the show is actually arranged for the audience to submit as well. So the act of te tau is you walk into the room and then you sit down, and then they mark you up, and then you lie down and you just stay there irrespective of how much your pain threshold is. And once it's done, then you get back, stagger back up, and now you're standing tall and you leave. So the act of kind of walking in and then lowering yourself, submitting, and then kind of rising back up and overcoming and rebuilding. The content flow is kind of staggered so that you walk in and the first digital videos are kind of standing high, and then they kind of lower. And then we have a mat, then we move into the blackout space where people emerge from that, and then the videos are staggered so that you're increasingly getting back up. So I want the audience to feel that life lesson that of submission to painful things is, pain is something that we shouldn't run from, but we should embrace it, because from that, from our low moments, we're able to rebuild and get back up.